The best way to set yourself up for speed and efficiency for your audio edit and mix in Pro Tools is to create a template from which you can work from every time. This way you'll cut out the time-consuming process of designating tracks and their outputs, and you'll have more time to work on the audio itself. Let's open the my.template session we last made in our initial setup lesson. This is a Pro Tools session with 12 tracks. The best way to organize a Pro Tools session for audio post-production is to break up the sound elements into stems. Think of a tree with several branches breaking out into stems. There are 3 main stems we will designate: dialogue, effects, and music. By routing the outputs of our tracks to these 3 places, we'll be able to mix our video project in a very organized and efficient way. Plus, the options to separate the stems later at any time is really useful. So let's designate these first 12 tracks as our dialogue tracks. We'll name them DIA 1 through 12. Double-click the first track header to rename it. Then you can either use the key command, Command and right arrow, or click the next button to move to the next track. Name the next track DIA 2, and so on. I'm going to name these first 12 tracks. While I'm naming them, keep in mind that these are mono tracks. They contain a single sound source that's going to be panned to the center of our mix. Once we're done, we'll make a different kind of track type, an auxiliary track. Type Shift-Command-N to make a new mono auxiliary track. This is going to be the pathway all of our dialogue and sync soundtracks will route through. We can use the pathway called a bus in Pro Tools to route audio from one place to another. Let's name this auxiliary track DIA stem, dialogue stem, and let's set its input to bus 1. Next, we'll make sure all the dialogue tracks are selected. Hold Shift to select only the dialogue tracks, not the dialogue stem. Now, holding Option and Shift, change the output of any of the selected dialogue tracks to track dia stem. They are now all routing through that main dia stem track. Holding down Option and Shift lets you change the outputs of any selected tracks altogether. Now we're going to do the same with our effects tracks, only this time we'll include some stereo and some mono tracks. Type Shift-Command-N, and this time use the plus button to add more than one type of track. We'll make 4 mono tracks and 4 stereo tracks, and then 1 stereo aux track. Again, this aux track will be our effects stem. So now we'll name them. I'll use Command-C and Command-V to copy and paste the names to speed this up. We'll call them Effects Mono 1 through 4. Click the next button to move to the next track. And Effects Stereo 1 through 4. And we'll call the aux track Effects Stem. Now we'll route our effects tracks the same way, but this time we'll use Bus 3-4. We'll set the input of the effects track to Bus 3-4, and then holding Option and Shift, we'll set the outputs of all the effects tracks to the same bus. Lastly, we'll do the same with the music tracks. These are going to all be stereo tracks, since music sources are almost always stereo. We'll make 4 stereo music tracks and 1 more stereo aux track. We'll name them MUS 1 through 4. And the stem will be called MUS stem for music. Now we'll route these the same way, only this time we'll use bus 5 and 6. Now that we've got all the routing out of the way, let's globally change all the tracks to mini so we can see them all. This time just hold Option and click in the thin track size ruler and choose mini. Holding just Option lets you change all tracks at the same time. Once we're done with this, I like to color code stems so we can keep track. Let's leave the dialogue tracks blue and the aux tracks green. Effects tracks will be pink. So select all the effects tracks and click in the thin color strip, and we'll change those to pink. And then we'll do the same for music, but these will be yellow. Now we have a working template, already named and routed and color-coded. This will be a starting point for all of our post-production projects. Go to File, Save as Template. We can save this as a template and be able to call it up whenever we start any new Pro Tools session. We can save it in our post-production templates. Alternatively, we can save it as a regular session and also be able to import these tracks into any existing session. Let's do that too. Call it my.template.post. Now that we've gotten this task out of the way, we'll enjoy the benefits of this template every time we work on an audio for video project. And keep in mind, you can alter and enhance this template anytime you see fit.